5, Leeds 1. Yeah. Match review of the game. I mean, I can't quite believe we managed to do that again. It was just beyond me now. 11 goals conceded in two games at Old Trafford. Shocking if we're being totally honest. I couldn't really believe what I was watching today. I genuinely couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, it was all the things you don't associate with a Bielsa team. You know, Man United having quite long spells of possession. I'm not sure what the final possession stats were. That might be a totally wrong thing to say, but I can't be bothered looking at the stats, to be honest, because I've seen what I needed to see with my own eyes. We just couldn't get near them. Yes, let's acknowledge the fact that this Man United team is probably going to be a title contender this season. Very likely to be. They might even go on to win the league. But yeah, you're in a derby game. Biggest rivals. Not just massive rivals, biggest rivals. We all know that. There might be some non-Leeds fans watching this. Biggest rivals, and we conceded 11 goals in 2 games. And you don't associate any of this with the Leeds team in terms of what we were doing. For me, it was worse than the 6-2. I mean, it's some contest to have that. Was the 6-2 defeat or the 5-1 defeat worse? This feels much worse, to be honest. This feels much worse. I'm not sure if it's just the fact it's the first day of the season. But we genuinely deserved to lose 5-1. This wasn't a game where we created chances, missed chances, and every shot they took went in. This could have been more than 5. It genuinely could have been more than 5. I mean, we were a bit lucky to go in at half time 1-0 down, and it just didn't look right and was shocking from minute 1 this game. You know, about the team selection, I'm not going to criticise the team selection. I'm not going to criticise Marcelo Bielsa today, because there's not one player played well today. Not one player was above a 4, 5 out of 10 for me today. Mateus Click had an okay first half, but after that, just couldn't really get on the ball after that. Meslier did okay first half, but was let 5 goals into the back of the net. Not even really Melier's fault, but absolutely no one's performed for Leeds United today on that pitch. You know, if it's substitutions, if it's players coming on, and it's not even a case of anyone was particularly bad. They've just all equally not great today. So I'm not going to criticise Marcelo Bielsa at all. In terms of team selection, why didn't Calvin start? Why didn't Firpo start? Look, they've not played much pre-season. Calvin, I'm assuming, we didn't want to risk. What's the point of risking Calvin at 4-1 or 3-1? The game's gone at that point, so I'm not going to criticise that element of it, because when you lose 5-1, you can't just put it down to Calvin Phillips not starting, Junior Firpo not starting at left back. It's a combination of things today. And let me be very clear that Man United were good today. There's no doubt about that. Man United were excellent today. I mean, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, we could not get near them. We could not get near either player. They were both probably, I don't know, would get man of the match. We just could not cope with their quality on the day. And that's what you face. When you face a top 6 team, you're going to get games like this where they just produce moments of magic. Having said that, you shouldn't lose the game 5-1. You know, I mean, some of the goals are given away. The fact it could have been more, that's disappointing as well. There's a range of different factors here. You know, of course, we didn't have our full team out. They didn't either, to be fair. You know, the big players produced moments of quality, as I've just said. We made some mistakes, and all that combined for the 5-1 defeat. You can't just put it down to one thing. You can't just say it's just down to quality. You can't just say it's just down to us making mistakes. It's a range of different things that went wrong today for us. You know, I always felt early doors that the defensive line was very high. I think you saw pretty much from minute 1, Lindelof especially, from time to time Scott McTominay, time to time Bruno Fernandes, always looking for that ball over the top and in behind our back 4. You know, you've got Mason Greenwood there, Dan James especially, we all know is a very good outlet, very, very quick. You know, if you're caught, you know, in kind of a foot race with Dan James, you're just not going to win it. And trying to think who else was in that forward line. Again, just so many players. Even Bruno Fernandes was making the odds run. They were looking for that pass every single time. And I just always felt that it was just that little bit too high. And yeah, I mean, you saw it on the goal. Obviously, it's a fantastic moment off Paul Pogba. We can't do anything. You can't do anything about what Paul Pogba's done there. You can't say we should have been tighter to Paul Pogba. He's literally just put the ball round the corner in the air, straight onto, you know, Bruno Fernandes, is just straight into the path of Bruno Fernandes. You can't do anything about it from that point of view. But when the second goal goes in, the third goal goes in, and it's the same kind of thing where, you know, we're not following the man into the box. You know, even if it's a late, deep run into the box, you know, like Fred obviously gets the 5th goal, I think. Again, I've lost track now. There was that many of them. You know, that many goals. You know, that many of them goals. it just felt like every goal felt like the same kind of thing that was happening, and that's a disappointing thing. And a lot of it you can put down to quality, but a lot of it you can put down to we weren't really following runners properly. We weren't compact enough, I didn't feel. I felt even at 1-0, 0-0, we were getting... There was chances, there was big chances for Man United before they actually scored. And yeah, it just all combines into what was a really, really bad performance. I think going forward, it was as bad going forward. I think in terms of the front three, that's the worst I've seen the front three play together. It just didn't really combine particularly well today at all, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And all you can do is kind of laugh about it now, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. In all honesty, but I'm not going to be. I have been critical there. I've probably been critical for a good 5 minutes there. But let's remember what this team's done. It's unbelievable what this football team's done. I'm not going to turn on these players after one bad game. I've not labelled any individuals today. I've not blamed any individuals today. I've not labelled anyone a liability, because they're not. They are not. Let's be clear about that. They are not bad players. It's not a case of... And I don't see Victor Orta waking up tomorrow morning and saying to Marcelo Bielsa, right, let's get 3 or 4 players through the door. That's not the strategy of this football club. That's what this football club would have done 5 or 6 years ago. We would have panicked after that kind of result. I'm not saying we're not going to make a signing or signings, but I don't see 3 or 4 players coming through the door, us totally changing our defensive composition, totally changing the whole team. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening, because that's the long-term strategy of this football club. The way we play, we're going to get results like this. It's particularly bad because of obviously who it is we're playing against, but they were very good today. Let's be quite clear about that. And every time they went forward, it looked like they were going to score. I don't know what the stats were in terms of shots, but every time they went forward, it just felt like they were going to score. And then even at 3-1, the game's gone at 3-1. At 2-1, we're still well in it, because we actually started the second half pretty well. I thought probably our best spell of the game just before we scored. And then when it goes to 3-1, I think it's just a case of let's not let this get too embarrassing, because it was always at a big risk then when it gets to 3-1 territory, and that's what can happen. As we pile forward, I just felt, I'm not so necessarily saying park the bus at 3-1, but maybe just be a little bit more wary of how bad this could get. And yeah, it got pretty bad, didn't it? Let's not lie about that. But that's by far the worst we played under Bielsa. We can go back to the Championship, we can go back to the Premier League, any game, cup competitions, Crawley away might be a contender, but that for me is the worst we played. I mean, in terms of the lack of leadership today, but again, I'm not saying we lack leadership as a team. It's just today, this particular day, we lost our heads. Today we lost our heads, but we've seen what this team's done. We've improved season on season. Let's go into that Everton game, burn the game. It's a decent little opportunity for us to pick up some points, get ourselves underway. We know it's a tough start to the season in terms of games. There's absolutely there's no really easy game at this level. It's just the reality. There's no weak team at this level. It's just what we have to face. But yeah, you know what? They'll have had a good old row in the dressing room, no doubt about that. The players probably having a go at each other. You didn't do your job, I didn't do my job, etc., etc. They'll have a good old row about it. They'll probably be back in training tomorrow, and we kick on. We'll build again. You know what? Man United will win a lot of games this season, 5-1, 4-0, 6-0. They will. You look at the firepower they've got. And we might lose other games this season that heavily because of the way we play. And when you face teams of this quality, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes on the way they played today, who's stopping that today? If it's Man City, if it's Leeds United, if it's Accrington Stanley, who's stopping that today in terms of Pogba and Fernandes? When they play that well, when Pogba produces moments like that, Bruno Fernandes is scoring a hat-trick, there's not much you can do in that sense. It shouldn't be 5-1, but you've just got to accept that can happen at this level. It doesn't happen so much at Championship level. We know that. It's just so disappointing, obviously, first game in. Rightly so, we're going to get, a little bit of stick, obviously, after the game, but you know what? We'll get over it. But, yeah,